Hello everybody, how's it going today? Glowplasma231 here, back in dates to do the Winter of 2024 manga haul. Of course, this is the first manga haul of the 2024 calendar year, so yay for the first even manga haul in an even year. That's pretty fun. But today I'm going to be going through all of the manga volumes that I bought during the months of January and February of 2024. And I have to say, this is one of my most varied manga hauls in a while. Now, there's not really a ton of books here. There are mainly, I think, 15 if I counted correctly. And if I counted wrong, well, there's going to be a number right up there right now. Like, yeah, right there on how many it actually is. But I think it's 15. And this month, I've actually been spending on a lot of other things, actually. I've been getting in a lot more to TCGs such as Magic the Gathering, Digimon card game, and One Piece card game during these months especially. And because of that, I've been buying manga a little less frequently, but I've also been reading manga a little less frequently. I haven't been totally caught up on like all my Shonen Jump and all of that. And well, I'm not saying at all I'm sort of getting out of like the manga thing. Like, I got into manga in late 2019. I think it was actually around that November time of 2019, or it may have even been 2018, now that I'm thinking about it, but I got into, it was the end of 2018, I went through 2019, and then, of course, the pandemic happened. I got a lot more into it, and I really started collecting at the end of 2020, and then the 2021 collection started, and everything from there, but as besides the point, I've got 15 books here, and I'll be going through all of the publishers. I, of course, have all of the Viz published stuff. I've got Kodansha published stuff, Yin Press, Seven Seas, Yin Press, and then a mystery publisher at the end, and we'll talk about those books at the end. They're a bit of an interesting case in that sort of department, but I'd say let's just go and hop into it with all of these Shonen Jump titles this week, or all of the Viz titles under the Shonen Jump line. And I normally do 3 at a time, but really the first one I need to talk about this month is Mashle Magic Muscles. This is volume number 14. We have 4 volumes left at the time of this volume. As you can sort of tell from, the cover of it, this really holds the battle between Epidem and then Lance and Dot, so it sort of has that sort of arc. And of course Mashle gets into a certain point at a time of just showing the characters in this arc, just going through battling. And of course Mashle's over at this point, and there are only 18 volumes, so I do really love the red tint of this book too. But this is just the continuation of Mashle. I really also love that we have Dot there on the front, because Mashle loves put MASH on the spines of the covers. And of course MASH is here laying on the bob, since that's all the joke for this part of the arc. But we have got Dot on the cover, and that's always nice to see. It was only either be him or Lance, but I like Dot getting some appreciation. But a nice, really red cover. And yeah, pretty neat there. So the next volumes I have, though, I'll just show in Jump Line, aren't actually come out recently. I bought 6 volumes of Nisekoi this month. So I bought volumes 1, 10, 11, 12, 16, and 18. Let's see if I can fit all of these on the screen here. But the reason I picked these up is Nisekoi is one of my favorite anime manga series of all time. And I've been wanting to collect the volumes little by little. And actually, let me get my badge down. I actually went to an anime convention here earlier this month too. It was Anime Raleigh, so yeah, it was really cool. Me and a bunch of friends went on Friday, and there during the con, I ended up buying these volumes and a few other ones. Like I said, we'll get to those later. But a vendor had some Nisekoi volumes there, and I saw them in person, so I'm like, I sort of had to get a few. So of course I had to pick up volume 1, and then I just picked up a few other volumes. I want to get all of them eventually, but I figured I'd get all of the earliest ones they had, so I picked up volume 10. I think they had a few earlier ones, but I also wanted to get a few in a row. So there's volume 10 here, and of course volume 11, going on to 12, and that's a nice little sequence I got there, 3 volumes, and then 16 and also 18. Of course, me and my friend Jaden did the reviews of this series on the channel, going through volume by volume, 2 volumes at a time, and pretty much talking about the entire series. So I will actually link that down in the description if you guys may want to go watch that, because I think that was a really fun series. And while the earlier episodes may not be the best, I feel like by the end we really made it something that I'm proud of put out. But yeah, I just picked up 6 volumes of Nisekoi this month. There's not really a whole lot more to delve into besides that, right? And yeah, that's really all of the Shonen Jump titles. Like I said, just didn't buy a whole lot of books, and just Mashle and a few volumes of Nisekoi. That was nice. The main reason I actually picked up these volumes of Nisekoi, I should probably say it, is because I actually got them for a deal. Normally these books retailed for 10 and on the aftermarket. While most of them are being reprinted and you can find them easily enough, there's still a few volumes, like 13 in specific, is like crazy expensive. And even though it has been getting reprints, it's still very expensive. But I actually was able to pick all these up for $7 a book. So whenever you look at these books, which normally cost $60, right, plus your sales tax or whatever, I ended up picking them up for what? That's 7 times 6, which would be 21, 42. So $42 for these guys. Yeah, it was honestly a no-brainer. And if I had more cash on me, I would have picked up more, but I didn't. So I spent it on, oh god, I'll go grab it. I spent all of it on my Gojo Prison Realm cube instead, right? Could have gotten like 3 more volumes if I would have bought this, but I had to. It's the Prison Realm and it's also a dice, I mean, and it's foam. I mean, I had to buy it, but that's all besides the point there. Let's get on to the last Viz published book, and that is Faron Beyond a Journey's End Volume 10. This is one of the February releases of this month, so, or of this manga haul sort of season here, so I actually haven't had time to read this one yet. I actually picked it up yesterday at the recording of this video, and it'll be like 3 or 4 days before this video actually goes out, but just recently picked this one up. I remember I wasn't the biggest fan of Volume 9 of Faron, and I definitely hope this volume's a bit better. Hey guys, this is post-production Glowplasma231 here, and since actually I filmed this video, I have had a chance to finally read this volume of Faron, and of course it's volume 10 as I just talked about, and I still will stand by what I said about volume 9 not being my favorite volume of the series, and because of that, when going into reading volume 10, I actually didn't go back and reread the volume like I would have, since it's been like a 5-month gap, I think, between these 2 volumes, but I also could be extremely wrong on that. But getting to what I thought about the actual volume itself, I actually really enjoyed this volume of Faron. I don't know what it really was about the volume, but it seemed to be the end of this contained story arc in a way. Because of course this volume starts off with the flashback that we were dealing with last time, and it sort of starts at a point where I don't necessarily think that I needed to remember much about what happened last time before, besides a few obvious things, but I just really did enjoy this volume, and it ends off on a really cool note of Faron finally doing something in this arc, and I just really love this volume. I really don't have too much else to say besides about that, but yeah, I just figured I probably should give my thoughts on it, being that I have read it at the point of this. But with that, let's hop right back on into the video. So, post-production, Glowplasma231, signing out. Of course, the anime is out right now, and everybody's just clamoring over how good the anime is. And of course, I've been a Faron supporter ever since I picked up the first volume on release day here in the West. So I'm happy the series is doing good, and I just hope this one is nice, a good read. I just haven't gotten there yet, so but I plan to read it at some point. And hey, I may do a community post or a short talking about my thoughts on it. Let me know if that's something that you guys would be interested in, but yeah, it's Faron Volume 10. Of course, Faron's on the spine there, and yeah, I just don't think you can go wrong with it at all. Next up then is a Go-Go Loser Ranger Volume 8. Of course, this is a series also known as Ranger Reject or Sentai Daiki Shatsu or something like that, but if you watch any of my manga hauls, you know that if there's one series I'm trying to advocate for people to check out, it is this one right here. So for the longest time, I had been waiting on this volume to get out ever since I caught up in like volume 6, because of course I didn't buy a bunch of volumes for a long time. And volume 6, I'm like, this is like the next big thing, I know it is. Picked up volume 7, I'm like, I just have to read it, right? And I read it immediately, and then I just was like, do I want to read scans? I want to read official, but they don't have it good official, and K-Manga, terrible app, just don't even get me started on that. So I was like, so how about that? I picked up volume 7, and then I just had to wait for volume 8. This book actually got delayed a month, but it is here now, so that's all good and dandy. But I read this book and immediately went on scans and read the rest of the manga in a day. Go check out Go-Go Loser Ranger, Ranger Reject. It's Power Rangers, but they're sort of evil, and one of the best underdog stories since World Trigger, in my opinion. Like, do yourself a favor and go check out this book. Just going over a little brief overview. The Green Ranger's on the front there. You sort of can't go wrong with the Green Ranger or anybody on the green team. Of course, Negi Haruba's the author. Of course, our famous quintessential quintuplets author. Gotta love that. But yeah, This is the only book from Kodansha this month, and I have to say, I think it's a fine enough one, and you just can't go wrong with Go-Go Lose Ranger at all. Next up, then, is going to be the Seven Seas books, and the Seven Seas books this month were, first off, Hello World, and then, oh, look at that, 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. So, we'll get to this one in a second, but I want to talk about Hello World first. So, Hello World is a manga, from what I can tell, is a movie adaptation, being that it is Hello World, the manga. So I have sort of built up a tradition here from the past few years, and on every Valentine's Day, I sort of take a few hours off, and I always go to a bookstore, mainly my Books A Million, and I always buy a random book I see on the shelf, right? I honestly forget what it was last year, but this year, I was like, you know what, that looks pretty good, and I picked it up, and it apparently, as it says here in the back, is a sci-fi love story across time and space. From what I can tell, our main character is this kid right here. I've read about 2 chapters of this one, but haven't had the time to get back to it. I don't know if my bookmarks... No, I took my bookmark out. Of course I did. Look at that. I gotta reread the entire thing again, but... yeah. This is a movie book, and from what I can tell, this kid eventually gets a girlfriend and this person, but eventually something's going to happen to her, and his self from the future comes back in time to prevent it all from happening and to give him, like, clues and stuff. I don't know, it just seems pretty interesting. Earlier last year, it was in the Summer Manga Haul. I picked up Summer Ghost, which was another Seven Seas movie manga title, originally a movie and then turned into a manga, and that was one of the most emotionally charged stories I have ever read. And after reading it, I'm like, you know, I want to get into one of these Seven Seas movie adaptation books. So I'm like, let me get it. So I'm happy to pick it up. I still need to fully read it as a bunch of... Hello, this is the second or post-production cut I'm going to do here. So I'm recording this one about a month after I recorded the last pre-production, whatever you want to call it, or post-production thing. But I've recently read this one, and this one wasn't that good in my opinion. I have some more thoughts on it. I may make a longer video talking about those at some point, but just to get it out there, I was not really a fan of this one. I thought it went a little bit too much of everywhere and didn't really stick to one main thing, so I wasn't a fan of this one, but you can't win all the battles. Books this time around, but I'll be very interested to see what it is. And if you guys have any other suggestions for books like this that are originally a movie of any kind you think are a good thing to pick up, then let me know, because I definitely want to check out more things like this. And from the little bit I read, I was very intrigued. I just haven't had time to get back to it yet. So definitely one that I'll be happy to get to. And then there's this one. I don't know what I was expecting whenever I picked this one up. I wasn't expecting the Aikashi Triangle sort of treatment, because of course Aikashi Triangle was a series that ran in Shonen Jump that was mainly for boys, right? And you know what I'm saying there. And this series is the exact same way. I mean, I can't open up this book for fear of showing something, but yeah, I picked it up. I just don't really know what to say. The story's just alright. It's just a rom-com that I don't really have anything to say about this. This book is going to go somebody. I'm not going to keep it. It wasn't really my jam. And that's really all there is to it. Like, out of these series that are really for, like, horny people, I enjoyed Chain Soldier a whole lot more than I enjoyed this one right here. But it is what it is, and I just don't really have anything else to say about it. Like, I just really don't. And there's the Seven Seas book, so, of course, like I said, this Seven Seas. This is a Ghost Ship title, so, of course, be warned. But moving on to Yin Press, I of course, have a Yin Press book in Oshinoko, and I just love whenever manga companies do this. And Yin Press, I found, is either really good at it or really bad at it. Like, Jump is always bad at it, and Kodansha is normally pretty good, but this book has sharp edges. Like, oh my gosh, those are impeccably printed. And Go-Go Lose Ranger sort of has them a bit. Like, the back corner is definitely a lot better than the front corner, but yeah. This is Oshinoko. Everybody knows Oshinoko. Of course, Volume 5. I do reviews of the series on the channel, so I'm sort of obligated to pick up the volumes. So yeah, one thing I do notice about these volumes is I always seem like the art is a lot darker than it actually is in the actual series when reading it online. But I don't know if that's just me or something else. But yeah, it's this Oshinoko Volume number 5. I mean, I really just don't have too much more to say about it. And then I got a Yin Own book, which was Solo Leveling the Light Novel Volume 1. So, of course, seem to be talking about a lot of series this week that have anime adaptations or are getting anime adaptations or so on, right? Like, Go Lose Rangers coming out in this next spring season. Of course, Faron is coming on now. Oshinoko had its anime last year. Mashl's anime is also currently running, right? And of course, as I talked about, Hello World was a series that originally was a movie that was originally animated, so there's a lot to unpack here, but Solo Leveling came out, and this is one that I've heard of for a long time. Of course, this is a Korean webcomic, and it eventually got turned into a manhwa, and it has been the big manhwa that you cannot escape, and it's been that way for a really, really, really long time. And whenever the anime came out, I checked it out, and I was very much intrigued by the first few episodes, so I went to my local bookstore, and eventually sort of the Solo Leveling section caught my eye because I'm like, I just recently saw that. That's pretty interesting. And I went up and they had both the light novels and the manhwa there, right? So I picked up the manhwa volume and I was flipping through it. And my one gripe with manhwa is how little content they actually cover, right? Manhwa are much more, of course, they're all colored, and while that's cool, they're meant to be read in a scrolling format, and manga isn't really the best in that, and a book format isn't really the best to do that in, and there's always a bunch of times when there's not really a whole lot that is being conveyed on the page, and it's cool and all, but that's just not really my thing. As I looked, and like every 3 episodes of an anime is a single manhwa volume in a way, right? And sometimes even less. And of course, that's the same way it is for manga, right? Sometimes, normally the average is about 4 episodes per book, but just the way the manga does it, I'm just not a fan of it at all, right? So I picked up the light novel instead. I've been wanting to read more of a actual physical book in this sort of sense than a manga recently. It's just been something I've been wanting to get back into since I haven't done it in a long time. So I picked up Solo Leveling 1 here, and I have fully read this front to back. And what I can say about this is a very cool story to me. Of course, I'm a big avid video gamer. Of course, I've been able to play video games recently due to school complications and a bunch of other things, but Solo Leveling is a very cool series based in that whole idea of, hey, this guy in a world where all powers are sort of locked down in one sense, our main character, Sung Jin-woo, has the ability to be able to rank up and upgrade his level. And sort of just see him devolve into that madness is really cool and, I mean, really fun. So I think most recently the anime is on like episode 7 or 8, and it pretty much gets to close to the end of this book, right? I think there's going to be like 2 more episodes that can be adapted out of this, but really what I find the most interesting about reading the actual light novel is seeing all the inconsistencies between the manga and the anime, or not the manga, the light novel and the anime, seeing what was changed and what was made better and what was made different. It's just very interesting and fun to go through and see. And well, I can't like bring up one of those things. No, I can. Here in the light novel, it actually explains how Jinwoo gets the umbrella that he gives to Gina in the one episode. He gets it out of one of the mystery loot crates, right? And in the anime, that's not explained really well at all. I mean, he sort of just comes out and puts it in, and the whole thing is like, oh, I think it's going to rain, so take this with you. And that's really all there is, but in here, there's a bit more detail to it. But also, they're able to expunge more things in the anime because, of course, this has been done by now. So I plan to pick up the next light novel and probably all of them just to read it through along with the anime coming out. So I'm going to be very interested in picking up another one. And Solo Leveling is something that I really enjoyed reading and also watching at the same time to see those key differences. I thought it was a really fun thing to do, right? But that is all the regular publisher books out this month. And like I said, earlier in the month, I went to Animate Raleigh on Friday. It was like January 6th or something like that. And while I was there, I of course picked up the Nisekoi volumes. But there was another thing there that sort of caught my eye, and that was a company called Saturday AM. And if you don't know what Saturday AM is, they are another company that sort of do manga adjacent comics. I've done a lot of research on them since then, and from what I've seen, they don't seem to be the best company out there for their creators, not really having their creators' best interest in mind. But I did buy all these books before I sort of read through all of this, so I can't really take back these purchases now, so I may at least show them off. So the books I bought were Saigami Volume 1, Henshin Volume 1, Clock Striker Volume 1, and the massively multiplayer world of Ghost Volume 1. And like I said, this company seems to have a lot of issues in how creators are able to produce their work, and it isn't a company which I feel like I'm qualified to actually talk on yet and talk about the issues that they have, but I can definitely tell that they have some, right? But going through these books, the author here is Frederick L. Jones. They are the person who actively owns this company, right? And they are the one who ended up creating it in the first place. And it just seems very weird how they operate as a company, and I don't really want to get into any more of that, but I want to talk about these books here. I have not read Clock Striker, so I don't have really any opinion on it, and to be honest, after knowing sort of about the author more, not about the artist, but I honestly don't know if I am going to read it just because of what I've heard about the author and how they sort of screw over a lot of smaller creators. I just don't really get into that can of worms, right? But I did read another work of his, Massively Multiplayer World of Ghost. It is a monster taming series like Digimon, like a Pokemon, and it's like an MMO-based thing. It was honestly pretty weak. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't really like the character designs they had going on here, and I just didn't find it really fun to read. I mean, this one took me like 5 or 6 days to get through, and the whole thing here with all of these series is that they're supposed to be the world's most diverse comics. And I don't really think that's a good selling point for a few reasons, because there are while diversity isn't something that's truly shown a lot in anime and manga, there's a better way to do it instead of just forcing it down your face constantly, right? And I don't have a problem with that. I like these series because of the story that they are telling, not because they include diverse characters, right? So, and this one was one that really tried to go hard into that, and I'm not knocking it for that reason. It's just a story I didn't feel was really too interesting. There is a moment in this book where there's like the whole Bleach thing of, oh wow, Ashin's what's it called, a Soul Reaper 2 or a Shimagami? Like, Ichigo's dad's one too, and he's a captain? Like, there's a sort of reveal like that in here, but it just didn't really hit that hard, so I don't really have too much more to say about this. These two are ones that I actually really enjoyed, though. Henshin Volume 1 and Saigami Volume 1. I read Henshin first, and it is pretty much another one of the Power Ranger Super Sentai series, like Go Loser Ranger, except all of these people get powers, and it's very interesting. There's sort of two rivals and a journalist in there. I want to be a journalist, so that's pretty cool to sort of see something like that and represented here. And there's big kaiju, and these Power Ranger guys gotta defeat them, and one of them has a really strong heart and passes his powers on to another one of these guys, and they are called Henshin. I really enjoyed this one, and I would be interested in picking up the next one, but I don't want to do it to support this company because, like I said, it doesn't seem the best. Then Saigami Volume 1. This was amazing. It's pretty much a girl gets isekai'd and has to figure out everything going on. There's a lot of really cool color pages in here, and it really reminds me of a Kingdom Hearts, but it seems like recently the owner of the company and the artist here haven't been getting along due to things that they've done to characters' profiles and a whole bunch of other things. Go research it on your own if you want to get more into it. And it seems like this series has actually stopped production, and I don't know about this one, but I think this one's still going. So, like I said, it's a little bit of a can of worms with this whole company, and I wish I was a bit more educated before actually buying these and supporting the company. But out of these, I really, really enjoyed these two, and these two, I just don't have an opinion on it at all, really. So, that's the manga haul now. So, like I said, got these Saigami and Henshin Volume 1. Going back through it for Solo Leveling Volume 1, Go Loser Ranger, Oshinoko, Mashle 14, Fiera Beyond Journeys in 10, the Nisekai, or, well, what's the plural of Nisekois? Because Nisekois doesn't sound good. I think it should be Nisekais. I like that. It has a ring to it. Hello World, and of course, 2.5, These Dimensional Seduction. Of course, is an amazing one right there, but yeah, this was all the manga this month. I thought it was a decent month for pickups. Not really a strong month in a bunch of variety, but definitely a strong month in individual stories. So, yeah, thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, I do plenty of other anime and manga content on the channel, so go check out that. I have talked about a few of those different series, and I'll have a few different ones linked in the description down below, so you can go check them out and say, oh yeah, this guy's pretty cool. And if you are new here, hope you won't mind checking out the channel more and just subscribing. It's a small thing to really help me out. We just crossed 100 subscribers here not too long ago, and that's just something really awesome to see. It just really made my day whenever it happened, so that's just really awesome to see. We're growing slowly but steadily. And leave a comment down below if you got a strong opinion on any one of these series in particular. I'd be interested to hear it. And yeah, I really don't have too much else to say. This has been the winter of 2024 manga haul. Of course, purchases from January and from February. I can actually put them into a pile of when they were actually bought between those months. Of course, this will be the January pile. This will be the February pile. Oh, golly gee. I know this one was in, what's it called, most recently. These two were, like, yesterday. That one was earlier in the month. I think this even was a January print date. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Kodansha volumes don't have the first print dates in them, but, oh no, yeah, English 23, I don't know. I think this one was January. I think Soul Leveling was like the last day of January, which means this one was 2. And then Mashal, yeah. This has been the Manga Haul. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. This is Glowplasma231, signing out.